So today we'll begin in a seated upright position. As always, if your body is saying, please lie down, I just need to lie down for a moment, then by all means lie down. If you want to lean up nice, I see some of you up against a wall. That's a beautiful choice. You can get that feedback of, oh, I know I'm really vertical, and the wall or a chair back gives you support as well. Any way you want to do it will work. And get yourself comfortable. Send your roots down. Lengthen the spine up overhead. And if you want, close the eyes. Let the breath flow in and out gently. Notice the natural rhythm of the breath. Feel the ground beneath your feet, beneath your seat, and anywhere that's making contact with your props, the floor, your mat, whatever provides your foundation. Visualize sending roots down and elongate the spine upwards. Let the shoulders fall away from the ears. Let the elbows, the forearms, and the hands relax. And tuning in. Check in with the physical body. Does it have any messages for you right now? Any areas of sensation or tightness? What's your energy level feeling like? Feeling sleepy, hot, tired, steady energy, jumpy energy, whatever it might be, just notice. We're not trying to change anything. We are assessing where we're at. What's the breathing like? And often when we notice with as much compassion as we can bring to the moment and allowing things to simply be as they are, as we observe, it's actually more effective at shifting us into a relaxed state than if we try to push ourselves to relax. So simply notice and breathe and let it be. Some days it's a carnival inside my head. Other days just sitting up feels like it's a lot of effort. Other times things are kind of quiet in there. We're always changing. And bring the chin down toward the chest and slowly roll the head over to one side and pause. And then over to the other side and pause. And you'll do that a couple more times. Take 2 or 3 breaths on each side. Changing. 2 or 3 breaths on the other side and changing. And then as you come back to center with the chin down, slowly roll the head to upright. And then look over one shoulder, pause. Come on back to center, look over the other shoulder and pause. Just like that, side to side. You decide how far you want to look over the shoulder, keeping the chest facing forward. So it's just the movement in the neck we're cultivating right now. And then roll the shoulders up and back, down and around. Give the shoulder blades a generous amount of movement. Go the other way, squeezing and then spreading the shoulder blades. Squeeze them around the back and spread them. Release. Lift the shoulders and squeeze them up to the ears. And let them go. Do that one more time. Squeeze, squeeze. And let it go. Lower the chin to the chest, round the whole length of your spine. Draw the navel in. Take a couple breaths there. And then a couple breaths in the back bend. Lift the heart, broaden the collarbones, melt the shoulder blades. Inhale, exhale. And now with the breath, as you exhale, draw the navel in and round. As you inhale, lift the heart, shoulders melting down. Just like that. Exhale. Inhale. It was so funny to go outside and think, oh, it's in the 80s. It's pretty cool out now compared to, but you know, everything is relative, right? Compared to what we've had. This morning I'm like, oh, it's almost cool enough to put on long sleeves. This is exciting. All right, come on back to center. It's the little things sometimes. Roll the rib cage around. You decide how wide to go. Take your time. Go the other way. If you're at a wall and you want a little more room, you can always scooch forward. And back to center. Let's swing ourselves onto our backs. Come onto your back, hug your knees, and rock side to side. And feel free to set up what you like. If you want a pillow or blanket under your head, have that. Or if you want a little extra softness under your body, you want a blanket there, that's fine too. And touch the left foot down on the mat at any distance, and then take the right leg up in the air. Rotate the ankle, nice and slow. Go the other way. And then let the knee bend any amount and make circles in the air with the knee. So we're moving from the hip joint. And that's why the amount of bend in the knee really is not, it's not the point, it's whatever's comfortable. And then circle the other way. Saying hello to the hip. And touch that foot down, send the other leg up in the air. The knee as straight or bent as you like as the ankle rotates. And take your time. Go the other way. And when you're ready, now take the knee in circles, moving from the hip joint. Slow, generous movements. And reverse. If there's a weird spot, something that doesn't feel right as you're going around, make a little detour around it so you can continue moving gently. And come on back to center and touch that foot down. Let's come back over to the first side. Bend the right knee just outside the chest, so it's right leg only, happy baby. You might hold with the forearm or with your hand, or walk your hand up toward the shin, the ankle, the foot. The main thing, if you're reaching more for the foot, is to make sure your neck is relaxed. If the only way you can hold on to the foot is making the neck lift up and the head drop back, don't do that to your neck. Be really nice to your neck. It carries your head all day long. It has a very important job. Thank it, be kind to it. Rock side to side. And then release, touch the foot down. Heel toe the feet mat width or wider. Open the arms out wide. Do a little windshield wiper side to side. Now, assuming it was your right leg that you just did happy baby with, tip your knees to the left. If that bothers anyone's knees, the knee that it bothers, grab your yoga block or grab a blanket or towel and smush it in so that your knee joint is supported on the thigh bone side and on the shin side. That can help reduce any bit of like torquing that might be happening if the knee is not a fan of that. If your knees are very happy with it, leave them alone. Breathe while you're here. You might reach the right arm overhead, adding to the length, to the spaciousness on the right side of the body. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. And when you're ready, release, bring the knees back to center, walk the feet in a little bit. Now the other leg, left leg comes into happy baby. Holding again with the hand or the forearm behind the thigh or walking up the lower leg toward the foot. Breathe while you're here. Be kind to your neck. No sharp turns in the back of the neck. Rock gently. Most of all, breathe. Breathing in, breathing out. When you're ready, very gently release the foot and heel toe the feet mat width or wider. Tip the knees over to the right. Same thing here. If one or both knees wants extra support, give it support. Give them support, and then left arm overhead if you like, adding to the space. Breathe into the left side of the belly, left rib cage. Feel the length on the left side of the leg, torso, arm. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Unwind gently. Bring the knees back in. Bring the feet in a little bit closer. Bring the right knee into the chest and clasp behind the thigh. The knee is bent some amount so that it's not really a lot of hamstring stretch. Shrug the shoulders down. Relax the neck. And when you're ready, start to extend the leg in the air until you feel some stretch in the back of the leg. And then stay right there and feel the stretch. And the leg will be as straight as the leg is when you're feeling the stretch. Does that make sense? We're not trying to get the leg straight at all costs. That's not actually so important. We're leaning into some nice sensation in the calf, in the back of the thigh. Now, ease up on the stretch a little bit. And let the thigh move a little away from the chest. Now take your whole leg and externally rotate it, turning the knee and the toes, the whole leg out to the right some, and then bring the leg in toward the chest again until you feel now probably more stretchy sensation in the outer back of the thigh rather than right down the middle. So there are 3 hamstring muscles. One that goes down the middle, one toward the outside, one toward the inside. So we're on the second one right now, the ones that run more to the outer thigh. And now gently relax the effort, take the stretch off a bit, let the thigh move away from the chest some. And now what I think is the most awkward one, internally rotate the thigh. And sometimes literally I will use my hands. It's not like you have to force your body to do this, but I will just remind my body, oh, internal rotation. Do it with the thigh. Try not to hike the hip. And then bring the leg in. And sometimes, I know for me, sometimes I don't feel it so much in the inner thigh. I just feel like it starts to get crowded in the hip. So give yourself as much room as you can in the hip and then let it be whatever it is on this side or in this direction. And take a few breaths. I'm holding with the left hand kind of behind the right thigh, near the knee but not like behind it. And then my other hand, you guys can't see this, I'll show on the other side. My other hand kind of hooks into the hip. Yeah, I'll show it on the other side. You guys can see better. All right, release that. Let the leg move around however it wants to move around. And then touch the foot down. Now from here, take the other leg up in the air. Left leg goes in the air. Have some amount of bend in the knees so that you can bring the thigh in close, fairly close to the chest. In neutral first, so your kneecap is looking at you. Find that place where you notice some stretch in the middle of the thigh, maybe in the calf. If you're not feeling a calf stretch, try flexing the foot a bit more. See if that gives you a little more something interesting in the calf. And breathe. Stay right there in the sensation and breathe. Notice your shoulders. Notice the back of the neck. Breathing in, breathing out. And one side you may find that sensation more readily on one side than the other. Give each side what it needs. Now ease up on the intensity, on the stretchy sensation. And once you've done that, now the whole leg rotates. The whole leg, thigh and knee and toes out to the left. And bring the leg in toward the chest. So now we're going after the hamstrings toward the outer thigh. Breathe while you're here. Breathing in, breathing out. Check in with the shoulders, with the neck, with the jaw. Unwind that. Back to neutral, and now for the internal rotation, this is what I mentioned on the other side. So I'm going to take my right hand and come around. If your thigh is not in a convenient location to do that crossover, it's not mandatory. Just hold on wherever you can. It happens to be a convenient reach for, I don't know, my arm length and my hamstring length. And then the other hand, I'm going to take, you can take your fist or you can hook your thumb so that you're reminding that front hip crease to give you space. And this hand right in the hip crease is just helping remind that hip not to hike up and get close to my armpit, but to do the internal rotation from the thigh, from the thigh bone in the hip joint, rather than from the pelvis hiking up on one side. And breathe. And gently release that. Bring both knees into the chest, any amount of knee bend, and circle the knees in opposite direction. And now let's rock over to one side. Any side will do. We'll just warm up the upper back with a little bit of twisting. So if you want a pillow or blanket or something under your head, go ahead and have that. I'm weirdly peculiar about blankets. I blame it on my yoga teachers. No, I blame it on myself. Reach the top arm out and then open up. Inhale, spin the chest to the sky. Exhale, come on back. Just like that. So remember, the arm is just a helper that leads the way so that your torso can move. The spinal rotation is really why we're doing this. And so each time that you're opening up, rather than thinking, oh, can I get my arm further down? It's, can I turn my chest more toward the sky? And the arm just does whatever the arm does. And in that way, we get more of the real benefit, and it's a lot kinder on the shoulder. Take a few breaths when you're in the twist. The arm that's been moving around can be wherever you want, in close to the body or stretched out to the sides. When you're ready, change sides. Head over to side 2, same thing. Reaching the top arm out in front of you and inhale, opening up. Exhale, coming back over onto your side. Just like we did on side 1. Inhale, open, and exhale, come on back. Just like that. When you are ready, open up and stay in the twist. Check in with the shoulders, the neck, the jaw. And take a few deep breaths here. You're going to stay here and breathe. I'm going to grab a chair and get ready for a couple of options. So, gently rock over to your side and slowly press up to a seated position. And the next thing that we'll do will be, and this is depending on if you feel like being on your knees or not. If you do not want to be on your knees, grab a chair, hands on the chair, knees bent however much, and do cat-cow in the spine. If your knees say yes to being on the mat, you'll do cat-cow down on the mat. The choice is yours. It is, again, the spinal movement that we're after. Take your time inhaling into the back bend and exhaling into the rounded spine. Just like that. Now, as you come to a neutral position, if you're on your knees, you'll drop the hips back and come into child's pose. Stretch the arms out in front. If you're not on your knees today, have a seat in your chair and fold forward in your chair, knees however wide you like. So we have that same kind of fold, that same hinge in the hip that we have in child's pose, but we're doing it from a different orientation in space. You can walk your arms out in front if you want to, more or less back stretch. Now, the next thing we'll do will be a little bit of hip mobility. There's some strengthening in it too. And first, I'll show how you'll do it from all fours, then I'll show the chair version. So from here, on all fours, pulling the knee in, circling it around, and coming back. Just like that, take your time. Do 3 circles slowly in each direction. If you're seated, you can do this either softly or more for strength building by either holding and assisting with the hand or by resisting, pressing your hand as you go around. In both cases, 3 slow, generous circles in each direction, and then go to the other leg. Just like that. And when you've finished, both sides, both directions on each side, return to either child's pose or your forward bend. Now we'll do the next thing up. You can stay in your child's pose for a moment or in your forward bend. The next thing up will be a hip flexor stretch. The hip flexors are the muscles in the front of the thigh. And some of them, like the psoas, attach way up to the very lowest of the thoracic vertebrae, the ones that are like way at the bottom of the rib cage and the low back, and then they kind of dive through your pelvis. So if, again, we'll have 2 options, one that's with the knee on the mat and the other that doesn't have any pressure, any direct pressure on the knee. Since I'm in the chair, I'm going to show the chair version first. Depending on your chair, if it's got arms, I'm not sure what to tell you. If it's got arms, going to scoot yourself off to the corner edge. The main thing is you'll have the right butt cheek on the chair, your left butt cheek off the chair. This is for the chair version of a hip flexor stretch. I will show one on the mat as well. And you take the foot back, the bottom foot back behind you to whatever degree you do. Notice if this is happening, right? Notice if your pelvis wants to tip forward, making a big arch in your low back. That's your psoas pulling on your spine. We're going to zip up the belly, keep the pelvis upright, and we want to aim to have the stretch right here in the front of the front of the thigh. You can, if you've got yourself sitting sideways, you can kind of hang on to the back of the chair for support. You can raise the arm if you want. You can side bend away from that back leg. Same thing if you're kneeling on the mat directly, right? So if your right foot is forward, it can be either side, but assuming your right foot is forward, you can lengthen the arms up overhead. If you want to do a little extra, take the same hand to the thigh. So right hand to the right thigh, zip up the belly and side bend to the right. Lean the hips forward, glide the hips forward a little bit, but still try to keep the pelvis upright so you get into that front of the thigh. Kind of going all the way around the hips today. We got the hamstrings and the backside. Getting the front here. We'll do the outer hips in a little bit. Gently come up and change sides. Whatever variation you're doing, do the other leg now. Anchor the foot. Anchor the front foot. Zip up the belly. Pelvis is upright. And then you decide. If you want to add the side bend, it's the bottom knee or the back knee that goes with the arm. That doesn't make any sense. Let me say that again in a better way. If your left leg is in front, your left hand is on the thigh, your other arm goes in the air, you're side bending to the left. Breathe here. So we're making that nice long line down the front body on the back leg. And breathe and breathe and breathe. And gently come back to upright. Release for our next, and now for our next trick. We'll do a little bit of inner thigh stretching, and you can choose whether you'd like to sit elevated or lie down for this. So sometimes if the inner thighs and the hamstrings are really tight, it can be an unhappy situation to try and sit upright and get the legs out wide, right? It can feel like we're being pulled backwards and underneath. If that is the case, you might get a little extra height, a blanket, 2 blankets, a bolster, a pillow, whatever you've got. A chair can work too. You could do this from a chair. That's just fine. Your legs will be lower down, but it's the inner thighs we're after in this case. So lifting up a little bit will take some of that pull away from the hamstrings tugging on your pelvis. Now, if upright feels like, hey, no problem, you can stay there. Take your legs as wide as you want so you get a sense of the inner thigh stretch. If you're not really getting that there, or if the hamstring stretch is kind of taking over the whole show, sometimes it does. You can also do this lying down with the legs out wide. There, that's a better representation. Breathe while you're here. Whatever arrangement of the body allows you to feel, remember we're going all around the legs today. What allows you to access that inner thigh stretch. If you also get a hamstring stretch, that's fine, but it's not the main thing that we're after here. Deep breath in and out. Breathing in, breathing out. And bend the knees, bring them back in, give yourself a little rock. If you're lying down, circle your knees around. If you're sitting up, do something that feels like it's not effortful. Reverse direction. And let's say hello to the outer hips. We're going to do it in a couple of different ways. So, way number one, we're going to stand up. This will be one of the only things we do standing today, just in case you're like, what? You're like, I just want to stretch. I don't want to stand up. Or maybe you're happy we're standing. I don't know. So, as you stand, this is kind of old school. If it feels unsteady to stand and cross one foot in front of the other, you can be near a wall. You can be near your chair. Right? I don't want to block the view, but there. I'm going to put the chair off to the side just so you could see that you might have something underneath you or off to the side. And then you start to fold down. Legs are crossed, and you're folding any amount down. Breathe while you're here. So, of course, you may be feeling this in the backs of the legs and the hamstrings, but you may also be feeling a bit of tug in the outer, the sort of racing stripe down the outer legs. Breathe while you're here. Take a few more breaths. If you're standing and folded, now, of course, you could do this lying down, or you could even do this seated if you want. I find gravity gives you a nice bit of assisting, though, if you do it standing. Press the feet, zip up the belly, slowly come up. And once you're upright, change the cross of the legs. Other leg crosses over. And again, you can use a chair or a block or any kind of furniture that's nearby for either steadiness or for a sense of like touching something that grounds and connects you. Sometimes it's really nice, like you're completing the circuit, to have not only the feet in contact with the ground, but to have the hands making contact with something as well. And breathe, 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 breathe. Let gravity lengthen the spine, lengthen your neck. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. Take a couple more breaths. Press into your feet, zip up your belly, and slowly ease yourself to upright. Once you're upright, circle your hips. Go the other way. And stand tall, feet facing forward. Inhale, float the arms up. Exhale, fold down, half sun salute. Halfway up, take a breath in. Fold back down, exhale. Press down to rise up. Inhale. Hands to the heart. Exhale. And we begin again one more time. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold down as low as you want. Little bit of bent knee. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, fold down. Press down to rise up. Inhale. And exhale, hands to the heart. Release the arms. Last thing we'll do, standing, feet facing forward. I'm just going to tip the screen so it's a bit clearer to see. And as per usual, if you want to do this seated, you absolutely can. Standing on both feet or sitting tall evenly, reach the arms overhead. Take hold of the right forearm or wrist up and over in a side bend. Did a lot for the lower body. This connects us to the shoulders and upper back too. Take a few breaths here. If you like, draw the navel in and add a little twist, turning the chest and the gaze down toward the floor beside you. Relax your neck. Unwind gently. Inhale, come to upright. Change sides. Exhale, up and over to the other side. At first, just the side bend. Rooting down, lifting up, breathing into the space on this side. And if you like, add the twist. If you did the twist on the first side, do it on the second side. Excuse me. Unwind gently. Come on back to center. And release. Roll your shoulders up and back, down and around. And now let's come back onto our backs for our hip stretch. If you have a wall or chair handy, you might use it. It allows us to get the hip stretch with less effort from the neck and shoulders. If you love doing thread the needle and holding on to the leg, I am not going to say anything bad about that. It's perfectly fine. It's nice to have variety. So I'm going to show this in the chair, but you don't need a chair. You don't need anything. Cross the right ankle over the thigh. And then bring the legs in close enough to your chest that you feel a stretch in the outer right hip or outer right buttock area. And breathe. So if you're using a chair or wall, you adjust the way the foot or leg are resting so that you get that nice stretch. If you're using your arms, you adjust everything so that you get that nice stretch. If your knee doesn't want to bend to the point where it can cross over the thigh, you can use your hands, like one supporting your knee and the other one lower on the leg. Kind of rock it, move it around, and just see, oh, when do I start to feel that there's something interesting in the outer hip? You can work there in stillness or continue to rock a little. So whatever leg and arm arrangement works in your body. Take a couple more breaths here. Unwind and change legs. Left ankle crosses on top, same thing. You might start with the same variation that worked on the first side and then adjust as you're listening to the sensation in this hip. Do the fine-tuning adjustment once you get in the basic position. Breathe. Check in with the shoulders, the neck, the jaw. Inhaling Exhaling. And there might be, especially if your sacrum feels a little wonky, you might do a little bit of hugging in of your core, like cinching in around the torso. It's not a whole lot, but it's like you're wearing a lift belt and it's giving you just a touch of extra stability. And sometimes that keeps low back or sacrum in a in a happy place. When you're ready, unwind the leg and take a moment to move the thigh bones around in the hip joint any way they want to. Circle the knees around or rock them, sway. Any kind of movement that lets the hip joint move. And let's take a twist. So you are always free to twist in whatever way feels nice in your body. You can bend the knees, you can have straight legs. Actually, since we've been talking about different ways to bend or not bend the knees, you might take a twist where both legs go over to the side, leave them there, spin your chest up to the ceiling. You can do any twist you like. I'm just going to talk through this one if you want a little bit of a variety option for the legs. And as you're in that twist, you can straighten the legs any amount they want to straighten. Breathe while you're here. Now, if the hamstrings are tight, the legs may tend to straighten way far away, and it winds up being more of a back bend and less of a twist. So if that's the case, leave the bend in the knee so you get that nice like spiral staircase of a twist along your spine. We're not looking to back bend in this case or to forward bend. Just the spiral staircase. And check in again with the shoulders, the neck, and the jaw. And take a few more breaths. And as you're ready, make your way to the other side. And whatever you did on the first side, repeat on the second. Gently breathing in, breathing out. Feeling into the spiral staircase of the spine, making any adjustments. Once again, check in with the shoulders, the neck, and the jaw. When you're ready, come back to come back to center, hug the knees, rock a little side to side. And then stretch yourself out in your favorite Shavasana position, your favorite one of the day. Okay. Take a breath in and squeeze every muscle. Exhale and let it go. One more time. Inhale, squeeze everything. And let it all go. Feel the ground beneath you. And let the long muscles of the legs loosen. Let the shoulders, arms, and hands rest. Letting go of anything they may be carrying today. Let the back settle in. The upper back spreads out. The lower back uncoils and melts. And check in one last time with the shoulders, the neck, and the jaw. Letting go. Swallow and relax the throat and all the facial muscles. Allow the breath to flow gently through the body. A soft breeze. Imagine that breath that's flowing through the body, coming in through the soles of your feet. And as you inhale, it brings anything that you'd like to welcome into your mind, body, spirit, being today. Breathing in, let it fill you up. Breathe out, move the attention down the body as if releasing anything that's not needed today. Breathing, receiving what nourishes you. Exhale, releasing anything not needed. You can pick it up later if you want. Inhale, receiving, recharging. Exhale, releasing, letting go. Take a few more rounds like that. Inhaling, take something with you. Exhaling, let something go. When you're ready, start to move the fingers and toes. Inhale the arms overhead, stretch it out. Draw the knees in, rock over to one side. And come up gently to a seated position. And close your eyes if you like. Bring your hands together in front of your heart. Lift the heart. Lower the chin. Take a moment in gratitude for something in your day today or someone. Thank you for sharing your practice with me, with each other. Namaste. Thank you.